Hey guys, welcome back to the LOFT Project. I'm your host, James Robertson, back for yet another episode. As always, we appreciate the ongoing support for the podcast. If you like the content, please press the subscribe button below and never miss another episode. Right, back to tonight's show. We've got a very special guest on the show tonight, a former inmate of Her Majesty's Prison Service, but having left prison has now completely changed his life around. Now finds himself a business owner, entrepreneur, and best-selling author. So, without further ado, please welcome to the show, Mr. Ricky Killeen. How are you doing?
Hello, mate.
How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thanks.
How are you doing? Good. Thanks. Well, first and foremost, thanks for coming on the show. Obviously, we appreciate that things are really hectic for you right now.
Mate. I've been out just over a year now. Well, actually just a year this month. But things are very hectic at the minute. Flat out with a new business and stuff, but everything's going well.
Wow, and a new book.
It's been on sale about 8 weeks in now.
So tell us.
Took about 15 months altogether to get 16 months to get it completed. I wrote it whilst I was in prison on my recall.
Yeah.
It took about 6 months to actually draft it up and write the book. But then once I got out, I had to hand type it up, then get it designed, and then been a lot of hard work, but I was determined to do it, and I've eventually getting there.
Brilliant, mate. Did you ever contemplate, or you ever imagine that you'd ever write a book? Could there, if you'd spoke to yourself, if you could go back in time and say, think I'm going to write a book, would you believe it? Would you believe it?
No, never imagined it. It's still there. Still now, when I was editing the book, I had to read back through it about 20 times, and it was taking me, I counted it was between 10 and 12 hours to read it from start to finish, because I had to read every little detail of the book.
Yeah.
And I had to edit it about 10 times in total I had to edit it. But every time I read back over the book, I was amazed. I was thinking, friggin' hell, I've actually wrote this book,
Yeah.
It felt as if I was reading somebody else's book. It was mad.
Well, like I say, congratulations, my friend. It's an amazing thing. It's something you should be very proud of, and I hope it obviously will goes. So tell us the name of your book and tell us what it's about.
I've got a copy here. I'll just show you. It's Behind the Bars, Ruthless Fitness. And it all comes into with me gym and everything at the minute. You can see the clothing brand I've got now. It's Ruthless Fitness.
Nice.
Obviously, I wrote the book once I was in prison, which is the reason why it's called Behind the Bars.
Yeah.
And then Behind the Bars, Ruthless Fitness comes in because the way that I was training was ruthless.
Yeah.
And the way that I have been with me actions and everything whilst in prison, and the way I've managed things, it's been ruthless.
Yeah.
So that's where that all come into it.
Yeah. So let's go back further. So it's obviously it's promoting good mental and physical health, and obviously it's something that's very important to yourself. So when was going back in time? How did you get into fitness? Obviously before prison. What age was it when you got into your fitness yourself?
Yeah, to be honest with you, when I was in school and that, I was never any good at any of the sporting activities. And that I was always shite at it, to be honest, because I was smoking from the age of 7, drinking alcohol from the age of 10, 11.
Wow.
And then taking drugs from the age of 11.
Yeah.
So I was never any good at any sports or like that.
Yeah.
Plus I had asthma as well, so didn't have a very good set of lungs on us. But I've tried different bits of sport and things, done a few boxing classes, nothing major.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was 20-year-old when I actually got sent to prison is when as soon as I went in there, I just started going to the gym, just weightlifting.
Yeah.
And I've trained, that was 16 years ago, and I've trained ever since. I've never hardly missed a week in that 16 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
So what was that? kind of first experience of being locked up, like having your freedom taken away from you? Like, can you explain to our viewers what that's like?
Well, I'll tell the viewers a little bit more. The ones that don't know is the ones that are from up your way and stuff, your friends. I was in the mindset from a young age, to be honest, looking back as far back as being 7-year-old, because my dad had spent a lot of time in jail when I was younger. Before I was born, he'd spent like 14 years in jail.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up knowing all this, and I sort of looked up to, I thought it was big and clever. So from a young age, I always wanted to like go to prison, as mad as it sounds.
Wow, really?
And I always looked up to the sort of the wrong type of people. And everyone that I was knocking about with older than me, that either been to prison or they knew someone had been to prison, and I was sort of glorified as if it was something big and something clever. I was never like determined. I wasn't deterred from it. The way people went on about it, they bigged it up and they didn't try and put me off it, you know. Yeah.
So you weren't even scared of it. You weren't scared of it. You wanted to go.
Aye, and like I was just destined for it, you know. And then I remember my first time in prison. I went to a young offenders, which are like the young offender prisons are totally different to the adult jails and then the maximum security prisons.
Yeah.
Because it's just full of young lads, full of testosterone, just wanting to prove themselves, and it was brutal in there, you know what I mean? Like when I went into Castleton, young offenders, it's like sort of segregating into different groups. So you go in, you've got your Mackhams, which is the Sunderland lads, the Geordies from Newcastle, the Borough lads, the County Durham lads, and they're all in separate groups.
Aye.
Yeah, and they're all like, there's always bits of standoffs and bits of fights and that. But again, on my way into there, like I just wasn't fazed at all. I've always been into bits of scraps and different things growing up, and never been afraid of it. You know what I mean? I was in amongst it. So obviously, when I went to Castleton, I remember I got into a few scrapes up there. I remember some lad, he'd been in a few times, you know, and you could just tell he's one of these that's going to try and test you. You know, I remember we're out on association on a Friday night. And there, it was just like being at a youth club, snooker table there, pool tables about, the new monkey music was on, everyone's bouncing around.
Yeah.
I remember I was stood up to go and get a shower, and this kid put his foot out in front of us to trip us up. Because you could see you just been weighing people up, trying to see how people were going to react.
Yeah.
But I put his foot out, I turned around and said, "What the fuck you playing at?" Like, he tried to make a mug of us, so I just turned around and battered him. That was the first scrap I got into. But in them sort of places, you've got to do stuff like that, because if you don't turn around and defend yourself, you just got to get took for a mug, you know. But obviously, I was in that mindset. I knew what was happening. I just didn't give a fuck, you know what I mean? I was ready for anything like that.
Aye. So how long was that first time? What was the period of time you were actually in that young offenders unit for?
I was in there it was a week before my 21st birthday. So when you're 21, you get moved to a man's jail.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in there for 2 months. I got moved. After that first scrape, I ended up getting into another bit of an altercation with another lad.
Aye.
What happens is, if anything happens in front of the screws, you get put on like what's called a nicking, where you've got to go down and sit in front of the governor.
Okay.
And they decide what's going to happen after that. So second time I was up in front of them, it was, I think it was 14 days, loss of association, no TV. So you're stuck in a room in your cell, you get your telly took off you, you're not allowed out. You're not allowed out when the other lads are out. You're allowed out to get a shower for 5 minutes, then you're back in your pod. And that was after about being in there for 2 weeks, that happened. So you're just stuck in your pod, no telly, no, a couple of the lads were just chucking magazines under the door, so you're lying on your back, reading Nuts magazine or Zoo magazine all day long.
God, are those magazines, is Nuts and Zoo still going or what?
I don't think they are now, but they were at the time.
Oh God, takes me back. But I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, I had my daughter at the age of 24, and I was still a kid. I had no idea I was a kid. I was still like the mentality of a kid and maturity of a kid. So I can't even imagine what that must be like to go somewhere like that at the age of 21, like just to be taken away from your friends and your family and be put in such a place that's surrounded by those kind of people, you know. But I just don't know. It's crazy to me.
But well, I spent about 2 months in there, and then I got transferred down to Durham, which is an old Victorian prison.
Yeah.
And when you step off the bus in there, like, you know you're in jail then.
Aye.
Because you get off the bus in the reception area, and you look across, and you've got Earwing there, and you can just look over it. It's just a big old Victorian jail, and you can just, it's an intimidating place, you know. When you're in there, you're thinking, fucking hell, this is looking a bit scary. But again, I wasn't awesome, you know, I wasn't scared or not.
Yeah.
But in there, I liked it a lot better in there because there was a lot more older people, and I thought I was quite mature for my age, so I beamed around all them little idiots in there.
Aye.
I've just wasn't my kettle of fish now. So obviously in Durham, I mean, I did find a few parts, got on with a lot of people in there. I made some good friends, you know.
Aye.
So I spent about, I think altogether I spent about 6 months in Durham.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I was waiting to get sentenced. I was in for 2 violent offences, 2 Section 18s.
Okay.
One of them, I used a machete at the attack. I attacked someone, kicked the door in, ran in the house, me and another lad, and set about the lad with a machete.
Wow.
And when I went up that happened 2 weeks before I was due to get sentenced for another violent offence, which was something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was saying, like, as a kid, I was wanting to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up getting me wish, but I ended up getting more than I'd wished for, because I ended up getting landed with a life sentence with 99 years.
Wow.
So that was the actual sentence. What I got it's called IPP.
Mm-hmm.
It's called imprisonment for public protection.
Mm-hmm.
And them sentences are reserved for the most dangerous and violent offenders. And I got slammed with one of those when I was 21 years old. But there was no release date. I had a recommendation of serving a minimum of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't behave myself and kept getting into bits of trouble in prison, then theoretically I could have still been in there now. There is lads still in there now, 16 years later, that were on 2-year sentences, like 2-year tariffs, and they're still in there now.
Wow. So obviously, growing up as a kid, and you see your dad kind of live in that. Well, would you be taken in to visit him in prison as well? Would you go and see him in prison?
Well, see, this was when I was on about the 14 years. That was before I was born. That was before I came along. But obviously, but a bit later on, my dad ended up getting a life sentence.
Okay. When
I was 18 years old. So I was actually going in to visit my dad in Franklin, which was the maximum security prison. And obviously that was another thing that made it worse, where I went down the path that I went down.
Yeah, I mean, this is all going to kind of, like, even from a young age, it's going to affect you mentally, your mental health. That will be a strain on anybody. So obviously, a big theme of the book is about mental health and helping yourself with physical exercise and stuff like that. And we briefly spoke off camera. We obviously realized, we both kind of realized how much of our mental well-being comes from physical exercise, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, go on, man.
No, go ahead, mate. Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about mental health. When I was just on about the story about being in Durham there, that was when I actually, the first time I sort of noticed there was something not right with us, because I was there, when I was in Durham, because I'd spent so long drinking and taking drugs. I mean, the drugs that I was taking was just recreationally, but that's what I call it, recreationally. It was like on a weekend.
Yeah.
I used to smoke. I was smoking weed nearly every day, but then I was taking drugs on the weekends. Like, it was mainly ecstasy tablets when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But then it got onto cocaine and stuff.
Yeah.
But so from the age of 11 up until I got sent to prison at 20, like there was hardly ever a day or a week went by where we weren't drinking or taking drugs.
Yeah.
So when I've landed in Durham and all that's out of my system, started having these feelings. I was having when I went and seen the doctor, and I was the doctor that told us what was happening. I was having these mad feelings. I was thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
having these mad, overwhelming feelings coming from inside, man. I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the doctors and they said, you're having panic attacks. So it was like anxiety.
Yeah.
But obviously, being that age and everything that's going on, just getting a life sentence and all that. And,
Yeah.
so what I've done was, even from then, I just carried on training. So every time I was working out, I was focusing on getting bigger in the gym and just weightlifting, sort of distracted my mind and make us feel better, give us something to focus on.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the anxiety and all that, the depression that comes in with it as well, obviously, even though I said I wanted to go to prison, like, I'm stuck in there. I'm missing my family and that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
going through bouts of depression. And like, when I'm talking about depression, it's where it's like, you find it hard to speak. Like, you go out and you just know people's looking at you and they can see it in your face like you're depressed, because when I got to Franklin, I went to Franklin prison, which is maximum security prison.
Mm-hmm.
Got sent there from Durham. And obviously I've spent 3 years there, and I've formed some really close friendships with lads my age and lads older and that.
Yeah.
And we're all sort of bounced off each other, and we all knew when one of us was having a bad time or going through a depressive state, because you could just hear it in your voice. It's mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you know someone well enough, you don't even have to tell them. They can just hear it in your voice, or you can see it in your face. It's mad.
Yeah. So it must be
but
like,
at the time, I did tries on different types of medication.
Mm-hmm.
For anxiety, but that all of it just seemed to make us worse. It seemed as if one of them didn't make the anxiety seem worse, another one was like to help us sleep in that as well, and it just made you groggy. So I just stopped taking everything and just concentrated on working out, and that's what seemed to get me through it.
Yeah. I guess stuff like exercise is not for everyone, so you must have seen, especially in that environment, kind of many people struggling with their mental health. It's, like you said, off camera, being locked down for 23 hours a day. I can't even begin to imagine what that must be like and what that must do to your mental health. And I'm guessing within the prison system, you must see a lot of suicide attempts. Is that something that you actually saw inside?
Oh, it is like on every wing in every prison. You see, there was lads killed themselves whilst I was in there, and what I noticed of a lot of the lads on their arms, like up their arms, it was just big, massive, naughty scars. I mean, I'm talking about scars as fat as your finger, like up your arm and that, where they've smashed the TVs. I mean, back then it was the old TVs.
Yeah.
And they would smash the tellies off the floors and then just rip their arms to pieces with the shards of glass.
Wow. I mean,
that was a weekly occurrence.
So is there much help? Do the doctors or kind of officials within the prison, do they really care? Are they trying to help people who are suffering in that kind of way?
There's that much of it, and there's that many people. I would say 90% of the people that are in there are suffering with mental health, and they just haven't got the resources to cope with it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that just get swept under the carpet, or they just didn't get around to seeing them.
Yeah.
And they don't give you the right type of medication what you want. Not, they just seem to give everyone the same sort of thing.
Just a blanket. Just a blanket drug to give everyone.
Because some of the tablets that they can give you that do actually work, a lot of the lads would try and blag it, get them, and abuse it because it did get them wrecked. So they would do it just to get high. You know what I mean? So it spoiled it for the people that did really need it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think I've previously had someone probably who you know, Carly Richardson's talking about her battles with mental health over the years as well.
Yes, you know.
And somebody I had a previous kind of guest, Leslie, and she'd basically been diagnosed with cystic fibrosis and was being treated, being given all these drugs for this disease, and it turns out she didn't even have that. She didn't even have that when she was misdiagnosed. And so from like 11 years old, she became dependent on multiple drugs, and they just basically given her whatever, you know. And it's kind of, you can't really be kind of angry within the prisons because, like you say, they're understaffed probably, and they don't know how to deal with it. Basically, I wouldn't think. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yeah, it's like I said, like the need. It's not actually the prison staff that they kind of deal with anything like that,
right? But
like they've got CPNs. It's called like a community psychiatric nurse. That's
right. Okay.
There's quite a few of those, but when I went back in this time on a recall, my head was up my arse again. I was having experienced anxiety and that again. Mm-hmm. And I put in to see the doctor, and I got put on the waiting list, and this was just to see a doctor, even though I tell them what my issues were. Mm-hmm. And it took 12 weeks before seeing a doctor, and that's from coming in off the street, putting an appointment in to a doctor, 12 weeks to see a doctor.
That's
which
crazy.
Was fucking ridiculous.
That's crazy. And that must have felt like such a long time as well. Such a long time to wait.
It is, but to see the nurses in the prisons as well. Mm-hmm. Nurses are in there. A nurse is someone who's supposed to have a duty of care, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the nurses in prison talk to you like fucking shit. But I think that used to deal with fucking like smackheads and scum.
Yeah.
When someone who I'd class myself as decent comes along and asks for help, they try and why with the same brush, and you're like, hold there a second. Like, how you talk now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not one of these little junkies off the street.
Yeah. So how was the kind of, you know, you said you had panic attacks. How was that kind of, you know, how was that manifesting itself in you? What was the way you were feeling, and what made you kind of reach out to the nurses or the doctors inside?
Like I said, when I was having these feelings, I didn't know what it was at first, and it felt as if like your chest just caving in, and imagine like what made it worse. Imagine like you're stuck in a cell, but imagine like being at home and you're having this feeling. Yeah, you would get up and you walk out your house or something like that just to calm yourself down.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck in this little 10x6 pad, and you feel like running outside into the fresh air, but you're trapped in because the door won't open. It's just like you feel like smashing your head off the door. You think, fucking you kind of get out. You kind of just get up and run out. You know, it was it wasn't nice.
Like I say, I keep saying, you can't. Nobody can ever imagine. Like you just said, all you want to do is just to get up and go outside, get some fresh air, and just. But being trapped in basically for all purposes a box, and just the feeling of kind of, I don't know, the feeling of hopelessness you must have had, kind of, I don't know, it's not something I don't think I could have dealt with, but I guess in that situation you just have to, right? It's a situation you were in.
You've got to, you've just got to find a way to get through it because there's nothing else. You haven't got no other option. You've got to do it, you know. You've got to get through it, or like for me, giving up was never an option, you know. I'm just not like that, mate.
Yeah. So,
but some people that just kind of cope with it, you know.
Aye, and obviously that's where you're going to see a lot of people with mental health and really suffering, and obviously the suicides and the self-harming and stuff like that, which is very, very, very sad. So, but I guess this is where the kind of the training within training within the cell and doing the fitness comes into play, right?
It does, but like getting back there, when I went to Franklin, and that's when I really started getting into my fitness, because I was just, when I first went in, I was just wanting to get as big as possible and as strong as possible, because most people first going into prison, or most people even out here, when you first go into a gym, you don't want to go and do fitness. We're young lads anyway. You want to get bigger, you want to bulk up, you want to get a bit of muscle, you want to be strong and macho.
Yeah.
So that's what I was more or less doing once I was in there. But when I got to Franklin, a lot of the lads in there had been in for like 30 years and not 20 years, some of them.
Wow.
And they were just fitness fanatics.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at them, I mean, I met some lads in there, 50-year-old, some even 60-year-old. There was an ex-army bloke, and he was there, 60-year-old, and he was one of the fittest blokes you'll ever meet. And I was just looking at them thinking, I wouldn't mind trying a bit of that. And so I started doing fitness in there, and I was doing like bodyweight barbell circuits.
Yeah.
So I was doing the weights mixed in with the cardio, so I'm getting the best of both.
Yeah.
But after 6 months of doing them, like, I felt really fit and I felt mint. And that's when the anxiety just started. Like, it's never went away because it never leaves you, but it became more manageable, and I started feeling good about myself.
Yeah, definitely. It's a strong feeling. Somebody who, I mean, I suffer from anxiety myself, and it's certain. From certain aspects, I can understand what you're talking about, because I've found it in times to be like quite crippling, like that I couldn't even function at times, you know, not even think straight or sleep or eat, or, you know. So I have an understanding of that. So were they actually within the prison? Were they giving you medication for that at the time, or it was just the fitness that was kind of pulling you back from it?
When I got to Franklin, when I was in Durham, I tried it. Maybe it's about 3 or 4 different types of tablets. Yeah. And none of them worked for me. Like, there was one of them that did work a little bit. They were called metazapine. Okay. It's like an antidepressant and for anxiety. Okay. But a lot of the time, because I used to sit and say to the doctors and I'd say, well, I'm not depressed. I'm just getting these feelings like anxious and that. Yeah. And I was thinking it's like tablets for 2 separate things, but it all comes hand in hand. So you've got to take a tablet for depression, for the anxiety. Mm-hmm. And like I say, it just made us feel worse, and I just didn't agree with it. So I stopped taking them, and then over time, I did start feeling better about myself. But when I was in Franklin, obviously being around that many hardened criminals, you didn't want to open up or tell anyone, because you think it's a bit of a weakness. Yeah, yeah. So even though my mates, after a couple of years, they could see when I was like depressed and that, I never told them about the anxiety, because it was like a bit of a taboo subject, or I thought it was back then. Yeah. You didn't really, by us men, didn't really talk about it. I don't think it's until you get older and you get into our age in your 30s and that, when you think like, no, 40. It's all right to talk about it. I wish I was in my 30s, my friend. I wish. Well, I'm still 36, still a young pup. Oh, you're a young pup, mate. Really. Do you know what, mate? I cried when I turned 30. I cried. I thought my life was over. Oh my God! I wish I could go back to 30 now, mate. I wish I could go back to 30. Sitting here at the ripe old age of 44. Fucking hell. But but was it that? So when was the point? What point did you think yourself, do you know what? I'm gonna write something. I'm gonna start writing in my cell here. I'm gonna make something of this thing that I'm passionate about. Well, I'll tell this like story leading up to that as well, because obviously, like in there, back in Franklin and that, we were drinking a lot in there, and I was still had a young head on as 21-year-old when I went there. Yeah. And when I used to drink, I used to make us quite aggressive and violent and that. And then when I was in Franklin and we were having drinks, I mean, a hooch was absolutely lethal in there. It's like drinking a cup of vodka. You have one cup and you're mortal, but the amount of things I've seen inside when people are on the hooch, it just sends them fucking absolutely wild.
What percentage do you reckon that was, mate?
Oh, probably about 60. But I remember when I was in there and I was having a drink and that, and I thought, going back on my pad, and I was having all these mad thoughts and that again. I thought, that's when I knew I needed to like sort this out, you know, because I was fucking, the way I was feeling off it. I'm in there for what I was in for, violence now. And I was still, when I was pissed, I was still feeling like that. And I thought, I need to sort this out, you know, like nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was a lot down to immaturity as well, growing up and that, because obviously at that age you're still...
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The
mind's not... But I mean, in Franklin, I had some mad old sessions in there. There was
Are you sure?
I remember one Christmas.
Are you sure you were in prison, mate? Where were you?
But I remember in Franklin, I'll tell you this one party that always sticks in my head. Obviously, before I got married and before I had kids, I always used to say to me mates, I said, one of the best Christmases I ever had was actually in Franklin. I wouldn't say that now because I've got a wife and kids.
Obviously,
it's a different story when you've got
of course,
when you've got a family.
Yeah,
but it was on a Christmas, and there was 10 of us all in this little pad. Everyone there, one lad had getting quarter of MDMA on a visit, another lad had getting a coke in, someone had getting a green in. The other lads have got big bucket of drink. Wow. And everyone's just in the pad, got the music on, bouncing around, jaws all over the place, fucking.
Where are the gods at this point, mate? Where are the gods at this point?
You see, there was about 5 screws that used to be on the wing at a time, and I think it was about 120 cons on the wing. Mm-hmm. But the 5 screws that were on were actually decent, and they just used to, if they seen us, they would just let us get on with it. Aye. Because it wasn't worth the hassle for them, because out of them 10 lads that were in the pad with us, one of them was, well, there's 2 of them, I think off the top of my head, that were the hitmen. They killed a few people. What? And like, they're all doing like 200 or 300 years between everyone.
What?
And they got so, but this one screw, it was on that day. He was there was short stuff on the wing, and he was off the nonces wings up down the bottom. Mm-hmm. So he was used to looking after nonces. Yeah. And I remember he came walking past the pad, and the door was open, and he looked in, and he like double take, and he put his head in. He says, "What the fuck's going on in here?" And I said, "What do you think's going on?" So he started shitting on. He says, "You can get rid of that now." So he went down and seen his other set of his screw pals. He says, "Have you seen what's going on up there?" And they turned around and said, "Look, just fucking leave them be." They got having a bit of a party. As long as they go behind the door, bang up, we're not asked. They didn't want to be there anyway. It's Christmas Day, you know what I mean?
Of course.
The last thing they wants hassle.
Sounds like you had a proper sounds like you had a proper knees up, like.
But yeah. I see after that, I'd come back from the gym some nights, and the lads would be saying, "Oh, how are you coming in for a drink?" And I'd be like, "Listen, I'm not having that tonight. I've had enough, you know." Aye. I was actually knocking it back. I was that sick of it. But obviously, like that as well, you had to find the willpower to just not go along with it, like I've done all my life, and just getting wrecked. Aye. And I had to say, like, look, like enough's enough, you know. Aye. But not long after that, like I'd done a 6-month drug and alcohol course. I had to do this course just to get out of jail. Okay. Because it was on my sentence plan. See, when you do my type of sentence, mm-hmm. You get set targets, and if you don't do them, like you're not getting out. So I could say, so at what point did it change from like like a 99-year like situation? How does that? Well, you see, I'm 16 years later, I'm still actually serving that sentence now. I'm on I went from Franklin, I went up there, I got downgraded after I'd done that course. Yeah, I got downgraded to category C. Mm-hmm. So I had to go to another prison. Yeah, so I've done like 4 prisons, and then after 5 years, came up for a parole hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the 4-year point came, and by the time it's sorted paperwork out and different things, and parole hearings getting put off, at this point I'd served 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up for parole. I went up for my hearing, sorry, and I actually got granted release. But I'm still actually serving it now. I'm on a 99-year license, and that was why I'd been out of prison 10 years, and then I got recalled, and that was all because I was still serving that sentence. Obviously, I've done something else in the meantime, which I'll talk about that.
Right. Okay.
But I had served 5 years, got out when I was 25,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a totally different head on my shoulders to what I did when I went in.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I didn't come out thinking I want to go to prison. I'd been there. I'd done the jail.
Yeah.
And as far as I was concerned, that was me done with it. I didn't want to be back there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got out and moved in with Michaela. Shout out to Michaela. We're there all the way through.
So is that back in Stanley?
Back in Stanley, aye.
Aye.
And then got her pregnant on the first year.
Oh, wow! You wasted no time, my friend. No time.
Aye. All that healthy living.
Wow. What was it? What did you have, by the way? You a boy or girl?
We had a boy. Ricky's now 10.
10. Oh God, that was 10 years ago.
Ricky Jr.
Ricky Jr.
But obviously got a good head on his shoulders, our Rick, and I'm bringing him up differently with a different mindset, telling him where I went wrong. Yeah, you know, because that's where you need to teach them young.
Of course.
Like I'd say it to him, I don't want him looking up to me thinking that prison's good, because he knows I've been to jail. I've told him all about it. I didn't keep nothing from him. Yeah, and I don't want him going down the same route I did, thinking it's big and clever because your dad's been in jail, you know, like thinking I want to go there. Yeah,
of course.
Well, I don't tell him anything that I tell him, like horror stories, put him off, you know what I mean? I don't want him. Not that he will, because he seems he's got a different head on his shoulders.
Aye. It just changes. It changes everything when you're a parent, right? You think back to when you were in your 20s. I think back when I was in my 20s. And you just think a whole different way, right? You just. It's a different world in your 20s to look back and think some of the things that I used to do or say or act, it makes you cringe. And I'm just at 44, I just like, wow, like I laugh about those things. It's so funny, but you know, as you said, you're a father now, so it just changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. I totally like, but like over them. I was 10. I'd been out of prison nearly 10 years before I ended up going back in. Aye. But over them 10 years, we ended up got married. I've got 4 kids now.
You're 4 now.
4 kids under the age of 10.
Wow, what's that like? That must be a job in itself, mate. I don't know how you got time for the gym. I've struggled with one.
But like I say, when I got out, I had a totally different head on my shoulders, different mindset. I wasn't I wasn't thinking the way that I used to, you know. Yeah. I was just thinking about the good things in life, thinking about what matters, you know what I mean? Not because I had a lot of time to reflect when I was in there, and like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm sitting here like a fucking idiot while everyone's out there living the life, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess, you know, like I know from talking to you that you kind of writing the book and kind of and opening the gym. Congratulations on the gym, by the way. And
nice one, cheers.
What you want to help people who've been in similar situations, or stop people from going down that line. You know, be a help in the community of Stanley, right?
Oh, definitely. I'd say, like I say, the way that I was, and then the way that I started going a little bit again because of circumstances that we're going to go into about things that happened that affected me life and all that.
Yeah.
And then when I got out, I wasn't really drinking that. I was staying away from everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started slipping back into the drinking that just before I went to prison again. So they're like, it's a big factor, you know what I mean? The drinking.
Yeah.
But I'd been out of prison been out a few years. And then when you get a bit older, you start experiencing deaths and that, don't you? You don't really hear about them much when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But the first one, I'd only been out, I think it was about a year, 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Michaela's grandma, and our mum had rang us up this night and said, can you take us up to see me ma? Like, she's not well, something's happened. So I went up, took Andrea up, and our mum was lying behind the door. She'd had a heart attack. She was dead behind the door. And I'd seen her. And then that was the first death I experienced.
Okay.
Like what I'd seen in that as well. She didn't die just straight away. Then paramedics brought her back round. But I broke my heart. I was crying my eyes out. I was supposed to be consolidating Michaela, and I'm the one on a night time when I'm giving her a cuddle. I'm the one like a big Ben sobbing into her back. I couldn't control it on a night, you know.
Yeah.
But because in that time when I'd spent in prison, I never shed one tear. Like, everything was kept inside. I couldn't cry. Because I remember when I was in Franklin's, when I was feeling a bit depressed, and I thought, I wonder if I have a good cry, I might feel better. But I couldn't cry, couldn't physically cry. And then when that happened with Michaela's grandma, like I said, it all just came out, all them years.
Mm-hmm.
But then a year after that, to the day, my nana died. I was looking after her when she was ill with cancer.
Oh God, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
She said to us when I was in hospital, she looked at us and she said, I want to go home to die. Like, that was our wish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I says, right, if that's what you want, Nana, you're getting it, you know what I mean? So I took her home and I stayed there with her nearly every night, watching her dying away slowly. She hung on for a couple of weeks. And Michaela was pregnant with our second child at the time, Kira.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird what happened. Michaela went into labour, so I took her down to the hospital. And when I went to hospital, my nana got put into a hospice because obviously the rest of the family didn't want to deal with it and they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
So she got put in a hospice when I wasn't there. And my brother rang us up. Kira had just been born in the morning, and my brother rang us up and said, you need to get to the hospice. My nana's like, she's hanging on for you. So I flew from the hospital, just see my daughter born that morning, flew straight over to the hospice. My nana's in the room, and she's just lying there on her back with her mouth open. I tell everyone to get out of the room, and I grabbed her by her hand, and I just clenched her hand like that, and I said, Nana, see, as Kira's here, she's been born, she's safe and well, because that's what she was hanging on for.
Yeah.
I said, you can go now, and she just went, and just died in my hands.
Oh,
I just felt that soul leaving. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
And so she was waiting for my daughter to born, so my daughter was born, and then my nana died on the same day.
Can I ask how old she was, Ricky?
I think she was 76.
76. Had she been ill for a while, or?
She got ill. She got cancer in her colon, I think it was, like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was really bad with it now. Like, the last couple of weeks, she was had to keep her drugs up and that now, and the morphine and that.
Aye.
But she hung on for about 2 or 3 weeks without even eating, but just wetting her lips and stuff. But she hung on, waiting for my daughter to born. She wanted to know she was safe. It was mad.
Wow. Again,
proper freaky stuff. Like,
again, I can't even begin to imagine what that must have felt like to see a loved one to be like that, you know, and to have them die in your arms like that. But it's. But
then it was about it was in the same month all these things was happening in February. I think it was 2 years after that. We all know Toddy.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
This was in February as well. It was a couple of days. I mean, it was the year after Michaela's nana, and I think that was the same day or the day before when Michaela's grandma died.
Yeah.
So it was on her anniversary when all this was happening.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2 years later. Toddy, one of my best friend, my oldest friend.
Yeah.
From the age of 11, he was the one like that probably stuck by us and all through the prison and all that. He used to keep in touch.
Yeah.
He was there because obviously when you go to jail, people that live in their own lives, people just still partying and some of them drift off and that. Some of them that were your best mates and all that. But Toddy, he was there all the time. He was on visits. He sent his money, just kept in touch all the time, you know. And he was going through a bit of a bad patch himself and that. And on this particular day, he'd been messaging us and that. It was concern from. He kept messaging. I was speaking to him and that, and it was 7 o'clock on the Saturday night. Tried to ring him back, but he didn't answer. So I rang Hobie. I says, Hobie, I says, you're the best pal. I says, there's something not right here. Like I says, you're gonna have to come with us. Sort of had a feeling something wasn't right, you know, and that's why instead of just going by myself, I got in touch with Hobie because he's our best mate as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Hobie as well.
I thought of something not right. I didn't want to go by myself, so I went up there, went to his door, and we're banging on the door, and there was no answer. So we're trying to ring Neil, his brother. We flew down, we went and got Neil, and he came back up. He says he must be in the flat. So I started booting the door, and I could hear the keys were on the inside of the door, so I knew he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of them big, solid composite doors that you just kind of get through. The coppers can't even break them down.
Yeah.
So because I heard them keys on the back of the door, I knew he was in there. And I said to Neil and Robbie, I said, get out of the way. And I just booted it as hard as I could, and the door just come flying open. And we flew up the stairs, ran up, went in every room, we're looking around, and he's there. I was thinking, no, he's not even here. But then I looked, and there was one more door, the bedroom door. And I went over and I'm shoving the door, and I knew he was behind it, and I managed to shove the door open, and he's behind it. He was hanging on the door. I ended up getting him off the back of the door, and I've shouted, I'm screaming to Hobie, get the scissors, get the scissors. He's come running back in, and I've cut the noose off his neck, giving him mouth to mouth, and he was gone. It was fucking, Neil ran out of the house screaming, me and Hobie.
Yeah.
Hobie ran out, and I was left in the bedroom by myself. So I'm giving him mouth to mouth, and I'm shouting for them to ring the ambulance and stuff. And I'll never forget the noise coming from his chest when I'm pressing him, giving him compressions. It was just like a hot water bottle with a hole in it, like making that sort of noise. I'll never forget it. And then the paramedics ended up coming. Well, I shouted at Hobie come up. I says, you're going to have to get here because the answer Hobie gave him his juice, tried his best as well.
Yeah. And
obviously there was nothing we could do.
Yeah.
And then that's when our heads were like totally fucked up after that, you know, like, and that's when I started just drinking heavy again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I say, my head was clean and I was off the drink and all that, but then after all that, my head was fucking in bits, so I was used to sit and drink like a bottle of vodka just to fucking blank out.
I'm not surprised, mate. I'm not surprised. For me personally, and I'll say to the viewers, the lads we're talking about, Chris Todd, is somebody who obviously I know as well. Obviously you know him, best friends since kids, but somebody who was just light up a room, right? Somebody who was just funny and nice and just, you know, there was just something special about Chris, right? He just.
It was great. Everyone loved him.
There's nobody could have a bad word said about him, right? Not one person, not one bad person. And for me personally, I was a total shock for me because he always had a smile on his face. He was always the joker, the one, the funny one who always seemed happy to me. And that when I heard that sad news, it was such a shock to me. Obviously, you you were probably aware of that he was in a, so how, like how long leading up to that were you aware that he was in a kind of a bad place?
To be honest, we didn't know, because he didn't normally say he depressed, or he was telling us he was keeping a lot of it, but he was keeping it all bottled up.
Yeah.
But there was another time, it was about 6 months previous to that, he rang us up and he said, I need to see you. So I went up into the same flat and I was sitting there and I said, listen, man, I said, you can tell me out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he just broke down crying. I'd never seen him crying like that before. And he was telling us that he's having a bad time. He couldn't get out of bed on the morning. He's been missing work and he's been lying to people about working, and he just proper broke down. I fucking just remember cuddling him, fucking thinking, fucking hell, what's going on here, you know? And
yeah,
he said he's depressed and that, you know, so I kept an eye on him and everything. And
yeah,
and then, like you see it, with him being the way he is, cheerful, centre of attention in parties and stuff, like after a couple of weeks, I was checking on him and that, and he just said, he says, I'm all right now. He says, I feel a lot better and that. And
yeah,
he was hiding it, and I thought he was all right, you know, but obviously he wasn't.
It's just a thing in us men, a mentality in men in general, especially in prison, I guess. But in men in general, that we don't talk about how we're feeling, do we? It's not that it's seen as, like you've said previously, it's probably seen as we perceive it to be seen as a weakness, when it's not. And I bet yourself and everybody else who knew Tony just wished he'd talked more about it and kind of, you know. So again, going back to,
and that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now, and just obviously people seeing the likes of me who's had a bit of a name and not been to prison, and they think, fucking hell, he's opening up, he's talking about it, you know. So I'm aiming it to get to the younger kids and the younger people. It's aimed at everyone, but this is where we need to get it into first, like making people aware of it and talking about it. Because like I say, it doesn't bother me one bit about talking about mental health and that now, and like the way that I've been. Obviously it did at one point, and it just made it worse.
I guess there's a lot of stigma attached to the whole topic, so you know, it's hard to, it's not easy for everyone to speak out about it. But again, I've got so much admiration for what you're doing, my friend. I've watched quite a lot of your videos with showing people how to do various exercises and all that, you know, and haven't recently, I've just, like say we spoke off camera, I haven't recently just joined back to the gym after 2 years of lockdown fatness. I feel so much, I was starting to become, I think a lot of us use the term depressed when we have no real kind of understanding what that even is, but you know, you know what I mean, you start to feel awful about yourself and kind of the weight you've put on and stuff like that. But I know from just being back at the gym the past 2 weeks that I mentally I feel fantastic right now, so I know how powerful powerful that is. So obviously you've had these, in a short space of time, you've lost, was it three close people to yourself?
Well, 3, but about 2 years after that, Michaela's auntie, our auntie Linda, the rest of her soul, who we were close to. Michaela was really close to her. She was fighting her own problems as well, and she'd done exactly the same thing. She hung herself, committed suicide. So you just imagine, like, my head's already fucked up, and then this has happened. And then, but Michaela's trying to be brave for me, because Michaela's the one that's had to sit and watch me suffering over the years of what I've seen, you know. And not long after that, another one of me pals who I got really close with over the years, Ross Hunt, I'll give him a mention, from the Moor, God rest his soul as well. He was only in his mid-20s, done the same thing on his way to the South Moor Park, 6 o'clock in the morning. Noose around his neck, hung himself on a fence post.
Oh my God.
So
Do you think
that's
this is,
experience.
do you think there's that particular area, kind of Stanley or County Durham? I don't know what if there's any statistics, but is it an area of high kind of mental health or suicide?
I think what it is, what people don't realise it until you're actually experiencing suicide or people close to home doing it.
Yeah.
It's actually happening all over the country. It's really bad. Like there's more. The biggest killer of men under the age of 40 is suicide. And that's a fact. That.
Wow. I mean, would you say that was a fact before even this whole thing's been going on the past 2 years? I can imagine like what it is.
Oh, it was because I remember after experiencing these suicides, we got put in touch with a charity down at Chesley Street called If You Care Share Foundation.
Okay.
And it's a charity that helps victims of helps families of suicide victims.
Yeah.
And it's also intervention. And so when I was speaking with them, they were telling us like how big it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I was saying there, the people that thought there was no other way out, I just think that if they opened up more, I know it's easier said than done, but I just think if they learn to open up more and talk about the feelings and focus themselves on doing something like some sort of physical exercise.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the reason why I wrote the book as well, to try and help people who are in that situation and suffering.
Yeah.
I just think like when they're that low, when you're that low and you're at the bottom, there's only one way, and that's up. So if you just hang in there a couple of more days, things will get better.
Yeah, I really admire that message. It's a strong message within your book, mate. And just quickly before, where can everybody get your book? Where's it? I know it's on Amazon, right? It's on Amazon, right?
It's you can get it on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can actually get it next day delivery. And I've just getting it onto Waterstones. That's took a bit of time, but it's actually on Waterstones now.
Oh, fantastic!
So you can get it from there.
Fantastic.
Or you can also I've got quite a few books here. If anyone wants them, signed copies, I'll sign them and send them here.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, you can just get the book from Amazon. It's actually, you can get on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So you can get it next day delivery.
Okay.
But it's also on Waterstones.
Yeah.
It took a while to get it on there, but it's on Waterstones now, which I'm buzzing about because now I'm wanting to book at the prison, so even people inside the prisons, they can't get it from Amazon, but they can get it from Waterstones. So I'm happy about that.
So how do you go about getting it onto such a big kind of platform as Waterstones, like?
It's a bit similar to Amazon, which that took a lot longer. It took about 2 months faffing on trying to get it right, because you had to have the design exactly right, everything, the trim, the margin, the spine. It's been an absolute nightmare, but we've got to upload it onto a platform, and then obviously someone's got to have a look at it to see whether it's good enough to go on, and then it gets passed. It gets passed on. You get an email saying it's been passed and verified, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, I bet. So I guess you got a very, very proud wife and family and everyone around you, right?
Oh, they're all buzzing. I've done a book launch in the local club here.
I saw it. How did it go?
Had a massive turnout. Had a good turnout. It was mint. I've sold over 100 books on that day. Yeah. But I had a good turnout. A friend of mine, Darryl Laycock, I'll give him a shout out, from Manchester. He came up. He's an ex-gang member from Mosside.
Okay.
And he's got a similar, well, he's not the same story as mine, actually. It's totally different, but it's a similar message.
Yeah.
He went to prison. He's been shot 27 times,
What?
been stabbed.
What? What?
But
That's insane.
He came up and done a speech, so he done as well.
Oh, brilliant. Which club?
He's put us in touch with a couple of people, and that he's helped us, so he's very good bloke.
He put us in
touch with Billy Moore as well.
Oh, is that how that happened? Yeah.
Well, I got in touch with Billy myself. We were messaging each other, but Darryl had actually rang him and said, I'll put a word in for you. So Darryl rang Billy. So I've got a podcast with Billy Moore in about 2 weeks' time.
Oh,
I've done the podcast, but it's getting aired in about 2 weeks.
Oh, fantastic. Do you know the exact date?
It's just the first week in February. That's all I know at the minute.
Okay. Fantastic.
But getting back to like how I ended up writing the book.
Yeah.
After experiencing all these different deaths and suicides, like I say, my head was fucking big time, and I ended up hitting the drink and that again, and I've ended up buying a stolen car because I was buying and selling cars at the time. I've ended up buying a car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my way to sell it, and I had a few drinks. I crashed the car. I took off from the scene. I thought I'd get away, but it was 6 months later. I was on my way to work in my recovery truck, and I got boxed in by about 10 busy cars. And coppers, all boxes in. The reason why there was that many police was because of me record. When you've got violence on your record, sometimes they've got to get the armed response in to arrest you.
Yeah.
So ended up getting arrested. Drovers tell us I was getting recalled to prison. When you're doing my type of sentence, you don't even have to go into a courtroom. I've never even seen the inside of a court since the age of 20. So what happened was I drove straight down to Durham police station and then straight through Durham prison gates. So I was sitting in the gym, 9 o'clock in the morning, training, went to pick a car up. Within 6 hours, I'm sitting in Durham jail thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I thought you'd always have to at least appear in court before they did put you in jail, but that doesn't happen.
Not when you're doing that sort of sentence, or if you're on license, they can just recall you, and recalls the probation, and you just get drove straight into the prison.
Aye.
So I'm back in the same prison I was in 10 years previously, on the same wing. But this time I was married, I had 4 kids, had my own business and that, so I just I felt like what I did. I'd lost everything. I've lost my wife, kids, business. Yeah. I know they would still be there waiting for us, but like, just felt like I was at rock bottom. Yeah. Lost everything.
Yeah.
Well, like I was back in 30 months altogether, and I got sent down to home house prison. Mm-hmm. And not long after I'd been in, I got a job on the servery, serving the scran up for the prisoners and that. There was a few of us, and I just started eating all the wrong foods, and I ballooned up to like 19 stone. Yeah. Mostly as out, just unfit. Yeah. But then we got hit with a COVID, so it was like we're in the lockdown. But in there, it was like 23 hours a day, every day, for the rest of the time I was in there. So for nearly a year, 23-hour lockdown. But some days, it was like 35 hours before you're out your pad again, because the way it worked, they had to try and socially distance all the different landings, so you all got let out at separate times. Yeah. So they would let a certain amount out at a time, but they staggered the times that you're out of your cell. So if you got out your pad one morning at 8:30 in the morning for half an hour, the next day you wouldn't be out until 3:30 in the afternoon. So from 9 o'clock in the morning, you had to sit in your pad until 3:30 the next afternoon. Oh. And like, the mental health that I was seeing in there was just unbelievable. Like, everyone just deteriorated. Yeah, I bet. Everyone just ballooned up, put loads of weight on. And I just went the total opposite way. Like, I just thought, I need to I'm in a shitty situation. worst place possible. And the last thing I need is for my family to be listening to me sounding depressed on the phone back home and that. So everything I was doing, obviously, I put myself in that situation and I put my family through it as well. So I was having to make the most of it, making sure that I got out and I was a different person. So I changed my mindset when I was in there because I was just full of negativity and just my head was up my arse because of everything I was going through. But I come to terms with everything that had been happening, and I just thought I need to turn this into a positive. So I just started training, getting myself fit, and I ended up losing 2.5 stone in over 6 months, and I got the fittest I'd ever been. And it was all body weight training, doing body weight exercises out on the yard, prison workouts, just burpees, squats, press ups, everything, just fanatically every day, and I just started feeling, even though I was in there, shittest place possible, the situation I was in, I just focused my mind on that, and I just started feeling like really fit and feeling really good. But again, I was back in there and I was still serving that sentence, so it's still back to 99 years. And I wasn't going to get back out until I proved that I was deemed suitable to be back in the public, because when I got back in there, they made us out to be some sort of monster when I got my parole papers through. Started bringing everything up that I'd been in prison for previous. And they said I was a danger to the public, a high risk of serious harm and stuff. And I just thought, how can you say I'm a danger to the public off a car incident, you know? Fair enough, I done wrong, and I shouldn't have fucking bought the car, but it's not the crime of the century, is it?
No.
I know it was somebody else's car and it shouldn't have been done, but to be branded like that off a car incident, I was reading my parole papers and I thought, fucking hell, like, is this, what am I reading here, you know? Seeing I'm a danger to the public, knowing adults and different things, you know, and I just felt unfair, you know, but I was blaming everyone else as well. I was blaming the probation for me being in there, and it wasn't until I sat and said to myself, took it on my toes and said, like, it's my fault I'm in here because of me. It's not probation's fault. Like, if I didn't give her the ammunition to put us in there, I wouldn't have been in there. And it wasn't until I fucking accepted that I started feeling better. My mindset was changing. I was changing back into the way I was, positive mindset. So I started jotting ideas down about the way that I got myself so fit. And I was also teaching the other lads. There was actually a couple of them from Stanley. Dean Ward, Rob Dixon, they were in there at the time. And I started training them on the yard, and I got them in the fittest they've ever been. And Dean was loving it. Dean had actually said to us on the way out of the prison, which I'll never forget, come up to us and shook me hand. He said, Ricky says, because obviously when I was getting out, he was still in. And he said, Ricky says, you'll never know how much you've helped us. Shook me hand and said, thank you very much. He said, I didn't know how I wouldn't have gotten through it without you. And I just fucking, it made me feel so good about myself knowing that I'd helped them, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I'm doing now, like with the gym and everything and the book. I'm wanting to help other people. I don't know if it's because of all the stuff I've done in the past. Like I've hurt that many people in the past, and I know I'm doing things where people aren't talking about this in a bad way, they're talking about this in a good way, and I'm actually loving it.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's...
But it feels good now that I'm actually helping people, because you can see the reviews on Amazon. I get random emails of people that have watched my YouTube videos and that, and they're saying, like, you don't realise how much you've helped me just off watching your workouts and stuff. And random people have bought me book and they've sent us a message saying, like, how much I've helped them, and just stuff like that, you know, it makes me feel just the reason why I've done it. And just to hear the feedback, a buzz off it.
Of course, mate. Of course, it must be such a great feeling to receive those kind of messages, and to know that what you're doing, your voice, your kind of work ethic, and everything you're doing in the community is changing the lives of and helping people have better lives. It must be the best. I can't even begin to imagine how good that must feel.
Oh, it's great. I see up the gym as well. I've put boxing classes on. I've got Sean in who's doing the coaching.
Yeah.
Because he knows his stuff. I just help him out because he knows the technical side of it. I just like help the youngins.
Yeah.
Keep them in check.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting good feedback off the parents and that as well. Like I'm helping all the kids and that, and that's what I'm wanting to do as well. You know, help the younger kids.
Yeah.
Give them something to do. Helping them in ways that we didn't sort of have it. You know.
Yeah.
I think if we had it, or we had people that were looked up to more like myself, then it's going to save a lot of aggro in the long run, isn't it?
Definitely. And tell us about your gym. Where is the gym, and what kind of things you got? What other things you got going on there apart from the boxing? You got other classes going on and stuff?
Yeah, it's in Stanley. Used to be Stevie's gym.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stevie. Thanks for helping us out and that. But I've got a lassie that does there. I've got Rachel who does the female classes, the ladies classes, sorry.
Yep.
So we've got spinning classes, boxercise, circuit training, and I do the men's circuit training.
Yeah.
We've got the cardio room, boxing room, weights room. So we've got something for everybody. So again, the amount of people that's coming in and seeing like how much I'm helping them just with the gym.
Yeah.
So I put things on Facebook quite regularly every day, asking people to come in. Like I'll help them in any way I can.
Yeah.
And I'm helping people. I'm doing PTs. I do private one-to-one sessions.
Yeah.
Got quite a lot of kids that I'm doing the one-to-ones with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I see, I'm getting good feedback and I'm buzzing because I'm helping them. But it's not just the actual training that I'm doing with them. When I'm talking to them, it's passing like the knowledge on and talking to them and asking them about if they've got any issues and that, and that people are opening up, isn't it? That's the first step, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bettering yourself.
Yeah, 100%, my friend, 100%. And like say, you only wish that you'd had that when you were that age. You know, who knows?
Oh, definitely.
Who knows? Who knows what would have happened? You know, but like we've already said, it's something that's kind of. I think these days we're getting better at talking about it, especially mental health. I think we're all getting better at talking about it. I think it is getting more exposure. And there are many good people like yourself who, you know, might not have had the best start, but have made a change, a drastic change in their life for the better, and now being kind of. Again, I really congratulate you, my friend, for everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
The gym, your business, the book. I mean, the book itself. I'd be so proud if I had to write. Maybe I'll write a book. I don't know. No one's going to want to listen to that.
See the book as well. It's for beginners to advanced. It's got something in there for everyone as well. It's got body weight training where if you're not confident enough to work out in the gym, you can do it at home. See, I got extremely fit training on a yard without any equipment, so it's all there and all the information's there.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to better themselves and make the most of it, you can do it. You don't even have to leave the house, you know.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them, my friend. I'm one of them.
But I've got a weightlifting cycle, how to bulk up in the gym, get lean in the gym. You've got like the 6-month fitness plan. I've even got workouts where running and jogging like you can do on the spot. Yeah. Because I used to do these workouts in my pad. Anyone you wouldn't be able to think you could do a 30-minute run in some of the side of your toilet, would you?
Well, I wouldn't like to try it, man. I wouldn't like to try it, but you got to.
You wouldn't believe the sweat you can get on after 15 minutes of running on the spot, but doing different intervals, like.
Well, you got to work with what you got, man, and that's. I don't like running full stop, but running on the spot, wow.
But in the book as well, I'll just see if I can. I'll see if get the page up there. In the book, I've got a dedication page, so I've dedicated the book to. You
All
see
right.
there's
Yep.
Tony, Ross, and Auntie Linda.
Yeah.
I've got on dedication page, so
Oh, yeah.
I've dedicated the book to them because
Yeah.
obviously,
That's a lovely touch. That's a lovely touch.
yeah,
And again, yeah, if only they'd had a chance to kind of speak about it to somebody or feel like they could, and maybe we wouldn't have been here. So we can only hope that books like yourself and people interacting with people like yourself in gyms that can kind of make changes in the way we see things like that. But yeah, right.
But if anyone wants to, like I say, I've got to. Maybe you could put the links in there.
Yeah, I will do, my friend. I will.
I've got an Instagram page, YouTube page. It's got me workouts on there, different videos, motivational videos, and that. So if anyone wants to follow them.
Yeah,
it's all there.
Yeah, you just send me the links over, my friend. I'll put them in the video, and obviously, and the clothing line as well. I'm impressed with the clothing line as well, mate. Merchandise.
What design there? Like I've got the gorilla logo.
I like it, man. I like it.
That's one of the things I've done when I first got out. I applied for the copyrights to the actual name and the logo. So
all right, so
I've got the trademark.
Oh wow!
I've actually got the certificate for the name Ruthless Fitness. So if anyone else trying to get that name, then I've got the rights to it. So
yeah,
I've done all that before. I ended up getting the gym, had the clothing and all that.
Yeah. Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Well, once again, I really appreciate you coming on. Sorry again. I apologize for the technical issues we've had. We've had a few little things going on, but thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and hearing your story. Again, congratulations with the gym and the book. I hope it does really well for you, mate, and we'll look forward to the next one. And the next one.
Next one, thanks.
And like I say, just wish you all the best with everything that you do. And
cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thanks again, my friend. Right, guys. So thank you very much for joining me and Ricky for that conversation. Again, sorry for the technical issues, but we hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I say, we'll put all the links for everything Ricky's been talking about, his book and everything like that, and his merchandise in the comments below. So yeah, thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.